welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back
Yeah.
to the Sigma Show, episode 11.
Ooh.
Before I let you guys know who is joining me this week, let's real quick just do a rundown of what we'll actually be talking about. Um, News from last year. Lampy says, Happy New Year, all. Happy New Year, Lampy. Thanks for coming through.
Happy New Year, Lamb.
Most of this news is from last year because the year just started and people are probably still on vacation and whatnot. But we're gonna basically catch up to stuff that we missed as we were on vacation for like the last 2 weeks. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, recently, EA just won a bid against Take Two to purchase Codemasters, who's a prominent racing developer. We're gonna be talking about that. We're going to be going over all that Star Wars and Marvel TV show slash movie news that came out just before the break hits. There's a lot of it. And then we'll be talking about that last big Cyberpunk story that hit, which was Sony pulling it from their digital stores amidst all the controversy and whatnot. But to talk with me about these things, joining me as usual, Blue Bones,
What's going on, everybody?
as well as Superman. Jeff.
What's going on?
Oh yeah, we're in the wrong. I put the wrong names in there. It happens. All right, I can fix that. But we'll jump right into the first topic.
Y'all so cute.
We'll jump right into the first topic. This was a bidding war that was going on for a little bit, kind of behind the scenes. Like I only heard about it after everything was concluded. But Codemasters, they're the developer most prominently known for making the, I think, Dirt
Yeah.
and Grid racing games.
Yep.
I think a brand new one actually just hit like as the new consoles came out. And they've just been bought out by EA, who we all know owns, the Need for Speed franchise. What do you
And
guys
Burnout.
think? And Burnout, true.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think could come of this partnership? Like, I don't know if you guys are big racing game fans. Let me fix the thing in the meantime while you guys are.
I'm not personally a huge racing fan. I love party racing, Mario Kart. Hot Shot Racing was a lot of fun, and Burnout is kind of in that same genre. I think that actually, before I go into this, I think it's a little important to uh, highlight that Take Two was trying to get this too, and Take Two has a lot of really good games under their belt. There's always a hypothetical, what if that would happen?
Mhm.
But as far as EA taking over racing game, or not racing games, Codemasters, I don't know. I feel like they haven't done Need for Speed Heat. I think was one of their latest ones.
Yeah, it was the most recent one. I want to say last
and
year
I
that released.
yeah,
No,
I
no, I'm
played
sorry.
it.
2 years ago now because it's now 2021.
Oh yeah, it's 21, right? We'll get used to it. Um, but yeah. So I played that for a little bit, and I was impressed in how the car actually handled. I wasn't big on the story. You know me, I like customization and da 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 da. That's not what this is about though. So
So he
as far as
didn't
the
let you
handling goes,
customize the cars? Because I thought they were trying to copy like underground Need for Speed Underground type stuff.
the cars are customizable. I'm talking about the character.
Boy, you're driving.
I'm just saying
You're driving a
'cause
car and you're worried about customizing the character.
because of the story, man. You walking out, there's a reason why you driving cars. You know what I mean? You're not just driving cars. And then I'm playing with this corny dude who's got a weird way. Like, okay, I'm worried about that. But what I'm trying to say is the driving mechanics felt good, so I don't have too much hesitation or too much anxiety when it comes to EA taking over Codemasters and hopefully doing a cool racing project in the future.
What about you, Jeff?
Um, I've never been a racing game person anyway. I think Neve Most Wanted was the last game I played. I would contend that they got um, um, Codemasters to kind of help work on their Need for Speed franchise, which has been kind of underwhelming the last
This is
couple
true.
releases.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're trying to bring them on to do something. But the amount of money they spent, which is like $1.2 billion. Let's not
Yes.
forget that um, Take Two
They were close.
is the parent company to 2K and Rockstar Games,
Mhm.
so they
Mhm.
have some money. So I think they offered. I think it says 973 billion. I mean $1 million.
Million.
Million billions.
Yeah.
Million. So it was pretty close. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling there had to be another deciding factor between just the money.
Yeah, and Lampy brings up that Codemasters also makes the F1 games, and like that's a level of racing sim that I'm wholly unfamiliar with. Like I don't know if that's like a big seller to kind of elicit such big bids to take them
Right.
over.
I've been watching some of these streams on Twitch. These boys are serious. I love going into genres that I have no knowledge into, right?
Hmm.
Just like the F1 series. I'll be watching farming simulators sometimes. That stuff is intense. So I am sure there's a lot of people on the extreme technical racing side that I'm hoping that they're going to be excited for this. But I know this is big news for them for sure.
Well, the thing that this brings up to me is like the fact that Take Two was the other entity going back and forth is like,
Yeah.
okay, so what racing franchises does Take Two have within their studios, right? And the only one you can think of, I believe, is like Midnight Club, which was a Rockstar thing.
Yeah.
Rockstar's not really doing that anymore, and Take Two overall doesn't have a racing game under its catalog. I think Take Two might have maybe just wanted to expand it in that way, so they would have maybe purchased Codemasters and just had the dirt games, the F1 games be under Take Two, right? Whereas EA is looking to bolster the titles
What
that
they
they
already
know
got.
sell more. Like they want help, I guess, with because I think right now Ghost Games is who is behind the Need for Speed stuff, and then yeah, they own Burnout, but like
Yeah.
and I think they own Criterion, the developer, unless they dissolve them entirely. But yeah, they don't do anything with the license. So like, if they do bring in Codemasters, are they saying forget Dirt? Like Dirt is now in the dirt, and we want to,
Oh,
and we want you guys to
I
now
hope
work
not.
on our stuff? Because I
They
wonder
just
how
dropped
that
the game.
because like I feel like the Dirt series, as good as it is, like it's been going on for a long time. Like it's very sim heavy. Like I think it's racing physics is what it's heralded for. It's
Yeah.
not arcadey enough to please a Need for Speed fan. Like I'm not a fan of Dirt because it's a little too sim like. Whereas I
Right,
want something
right.
a little bit more leaning more arcadey. And if they now have to do that when their expertise is on something else, I wonder if that's going to translate well. So I really do have like I'm unsure what is the plan here, but EA did spend a ton of money to get them in their stable, so it can't be to just have them continue to do what they're already doing. Like EA probably wants to use them in some way.
I was trying to find out who was actually because remember NASCAR was doing their virtual racing, so I was trying to find out who was the company
Yeah, but-
behind that, and to figure out if that was some type of angle that was the reason for the purchase. But I couldn't find out the company who was
Like making games
behind
with the
software
NASCAR
for
license.
Yeah, so well no, because remember they were doing the virtual races because they couldn't do the
The
live
in-person.
course.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I say something about that real quick? I think it's really funny how we don't hear a lot about that anymore. After a lot of the drivers were saying some stuff they weren't supposed to.
Right? Like it was getting a lot of press
they're like,
how
"You
popular
know
this
what?
virtual thing was, and then all these
We
drivers
barely got started, and a lot of these people are not 2020 friendly.
That is so true.
Oh man.
But yeah,
that was
so
funny.
yeah, I don't think there's too much more to go into there. Like the deed is done. EA now owns them.
Yeah.
We just have to wait to see what they do with Codemasters.
Yep.
Hopefully there won't be any like layoffs and stuff. But
I did want to say, Take Two, Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto 5, they've been refining their whole racing part of Grand Theft Auto 5 for a long time. And I was thinking that maybe their plan was to use Codemasters to kind of extract that part and just kind of make their own racing game
like a
with them.
GTA themed, just solo race. That the only reason like that sounds like something EA would do,
Yeah.
but I don't think Take Two as a publisher has that kind of control over Rockstar. Like I don't think Take Two can decide what Rockstar does with this license and
They're
stuff.
really high up on there, yeah.
Yeah, like Rockstar pretty much gets carte blanche to do what they need to because they make them so much money. So I'd be surprised if that somehow happened and it wasn't Rockstar's idea. Like maybe Rockstar told Take Two, "Hey, go buy Codemasters because we want to." Like that's how I would assume that relationship went. But
I mean, I was just trying to think of the strategy
Mm-hmm.
that was going into their initial purchase before EA stepped in, and that was the only thing I was like, this is probably the closest thing that they have to recent, or I should say, modern racing games under
Maybe.
their belt. So,
Yeah, that's interesting.
uh,
That's interesting. I wonder. Maybe we'll see something
yeah,
without them now, but who knows?
yeah,
But on that note, let's move on to all of our movie/TV news.
yay,
Do you guys want to start with like some of the Marvel stuff, or you want to start with the Star Wars stuff? Like what?
Marvel.
You want to start with the Marvel stuff? Okay, fair enough. So yeah, because there were more announcements for Star Wars anyhow, and more of that stuff was new. Like, so we knew a lot of the Marvel stuff was already coming. We finally got trailers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We got a trailer for Loki, and we got a trailer for Marvel's What If series.
Right.
Immediate thoughts on any of those? Like, what stuck out to you guys?
So for me, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it did kind of draw me in a little bit more. I was hesitant because I didn't feel like the Falcon was a strong enough character to hold a series on his own. I did see some that did. I get ease with what was the name of the show with the sleeves, and you could go from
Altered Carbon?
Altered Karma, Anthony Mackie that last season. He did do a great job, so that kind of reinstilled some confidence in me. And then seeing the trailers, there that dynamic between those two actually worked very well. So I'm definitely interested to see that from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Um, Trailers, the What If series has always been a great series because you have a lot of series that spawn from the What If series. So you had like Marvel's Zombies, where all the superheroes became zombies. And it's actually a really good read if you actually read it. A lot of the what if stories are like, what if instead of Tony Stark taking the super soldier serum, somebody else did? Or what if Iron Man picked up Thor's hand? It's just a lot of what if stuff, which leaves so much creativity and for things to work with. A lot of things that were from what if series actually became mainline comics. So that's
So
pretty interesting.
in the books, it seems like maybe they were trying out kind of like they're
Yeah.
doing whatever, and if a thing
Mhm.
like really hits, they somehow figure out a way to
Well, that's
make
what
it
like
part of the regular.
the Ghost Spider. She was kind of a what if situation
Okay,
because she was so popular.
they added her into the actual
Yeah,
multiverse type thing.
stuff
Okay,
like Gwenpool, like the Deadpool version of Gwen. Like because she was so popular, they started using her for different things. So it's a good way to test characters to see how they would work and how people would
okay.
react. And then Loki series, I mean, we all were expecting that to be, you know, just a whole fun type of. It looks like he's going to be traveling through time and avoiding somebody called like the Time Police or something like that. It looks
Yeah.
very funny, so that definitely looks interesting.
For me, I have no problems with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think it's gonna be interesting. Loki, as much as I think he's the equivalent to Joker hype, I still think it's going to be interesting. But I think the What If series, I think I have the totally opposite view of Jeff on this series because I think this embodies what I don't like about comic books, and it's just the hypotheticals that kind of lead to dead ends, some lead to longer dead ends, and then you're just left with that. I don't know. I hate the hypothetical, the exactly what you said. What if they all became zombies? Like I don't care if they became zombies. I need to know, did it happen or not? And the fact is, it's always
I
just a
think
question and a thought and an
I think that kind
experiment.
of
And
plays back to if you remember where pretty much the whole Star Wars universe now is what if the non-canon stuff that got wiped away with the Disney acquisition.
but it got
All that
wiped
is
away.
yeah, it's still what if. So they might use it and they might not use it. So pretty much you reading it doesn't add to the overall story, which is the same thing what the what if does. It doesn't add to the overall stories. It just gives you things that
It's like
could
a
possibly
separate.
happen. Exactly. So
Yeah,
it's the
that's
same
annoying to
exact
me.
thing. But there's a difference between a one-shot episode and instead of a whole series of books and lore that got wiped away. So it kind of goes both ways. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, I see what blue means honestly, in the sense that like if you were watching like a really good series and then all of a sudden like a bunch of weird stuff happens and then they wake up from a dream, it's like, oh, none of that mattered. Like that was dumb.
Exactly.
Like that's that I get like that's
No,
the
but that's
I
exactly
hate shows like that too.
the premise of the show.
The whole thing was a dream. No, it's not the same thing. The thing is, like, there's these isolated stories where, what if something else happened?
well,
But they didn't.
Yeah.
well,
That's what I'm saying. They didn't.
but here's the flip side of that though. We all know that Marvel and DC has this whole multiverse thing. So the conceit, and I understand that you hate that, and I understand exactly why. But the conceit is there's an infinite possibility of things here, there, and a third.
Absolutely.
So all these things did happen. They just don't matter because this is some other reality. And I understand why you're like, well, that information isn't valuable to me because I want to know what the main universe that I'm following is up to.
People don't read comics for real life, and I think that's where some people get turned off. They're going in expecting real life, like, oh, I put a quarter in this machine, I should get what I press on the button. Like, I go to the grocery store today, and blah blah blah. Like, people don't read comics for real life, so there are going to be some things that are far and in between that are reaches. That's because it's a comic. Same thing with anime. I don't watch anime for real life. Oh, that's not realistic. I don't.
But how many times am I watching an anime that has a what if series?
No, what I'm saying is like when you say you don't. Oh, I don't like that because it's not realistic. It's not grounded.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, yeah, I don't think that's what he's saying at all.
Nobody said that. Hold on, chill, bro.
Like I'll pop. Like
Don't
when you
put words
like,
in
oh,
my
I don't.
mouth.
I don't like that particular series because it's not realistic. It's not. You know.
No, I don't think it's about whether it's
No.
real or not. It's more so it's ancillary story. It's like
No. I don't mean this particular instance. I just mean some people in general. That's why they read comics.
Oh,
This you're looking for. Everything doesn't have to be intertwined. There could be some one shots. Just like there's filler episodes where these things aren't part of the main story. They're just
those are
side stuff
annoying
that
as
could
hell.
happen.
yeah,
So
sometimes they can be good, but most times, yeah, people don't
Exactly.
care enough about them because it doesn't feel necessary to the plot that you've been following. So that's why it kind of gets the bum rap. But I will say, me personally, I think the what if stuff looks cool. I love the animation style. Like it's kind of this hybrid CG 2D. Like it looks sort of comic. Matter of fact, it looks just like how the Marvel vs. Capcom art style looks nowadays.
okay.
How it's
The
like,
Infinite?
yeah, not Infinite, but well, Infinite I guess has it too, but I'm thinking more Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
the like cell half.
Yeah, it's like half
cell
cell shaded, like
Yeah,
3D,
I
but like
see.
that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Beautiful Joe almost.
Yeah, and like yes, and like it's the same. Like the same actors' faces are being used, like they're using their voices and stuff. Like I like that because that lends more credibility to it versus this kind of it's all completely separate and not like it does give it a little bit more weight, but it's just stories that you can get lost in and have fun with and not put too much stock in because when everything is intertwined, you can run into problems where everything has to justify one another, and that's something that Star Wars is dealing with right now. If you want to get into it, we will get into it because we'll talk about the Star Wars stuff later. But
I guess what I'm saying is, and I'll say this is a good thing about it. I know what to not watch if I'm not looking for spoilers. You know what I mean? Like if I'm looking for spoilers, or not spoilers, excuse me, fillers. That's what I was trying to say. Fillers. If I'm looking for fillers, I'm gonna watch the What If series. If I'm not looking for fillers, I'm not gonna watch that. That's what it sounds like, a collection of fillers.
yeah,
Okay.
you can't really argue with that, and it's whether or not you're into that sort of thing for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I wanted to say, like, you guys both seem really big on the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. I thought that trailer was kind of like bad. Like,
I don't like trailers in general because I feel like there's spoilers, and I've talked about that before. But I have faith in the characters. I think both of those characters have been pretty solid.
I disagree. Like Jeff said earlier, I agree that Anthony Mackie's Falcon character is very weak. Like he's not very personable. He's not super likable. Like you don't like he's very thrown to the side. And like this is a show that maybe gives his character more of a chance to shine. But like I didn't watch Anthony Mackie in Altered Carbon. I did watch his episode in Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. He was amazing.
and I did think he was good in Black Mirror. But so that's what the duality is, because Anthony Mackie in the Marvel series as Falcon sucks. Like I think he's a bad character in that series.
I think it's the way they handled him. If you remember how he got handled in um, Captain America 2 when they
Uh huh.
first actually the Winter Soldier when he first met Andrew Falcon,
Hmm.
and they were
Mm-hmm.
like, kind of like that duo handling everything. That was
Mm-hmm.
handled properly. I think because there were so many characters and so much stuff going on, they didn't know what to do with the Falcon character. And I think that was one of the biggest misses. Because even then, like, with so much happening in between that movie and the Endgame movie, it didn't really make much sense why he gave Falcon his shield.
So
Because
maybe we can get that explanation in this
yeah,
series.
because there was some camaraderie going on there. He was always like his number two man. He's like, wherever Steve goes, I go. He
Hmm.
was there with him. But
It looked really
outside of
bad.
that movie, they didn't get to build that. They didn't carry that forward. You know what I'm saying?
So I
But
mean, yeah, this show should give them a chance to flesh him out, which I hope they do. But I
and
just
the
have to say,
villain,
like,
though.
say
See the
again,
villain actually going to be Baron Zemo. So if you remember the Civil War series, the guy who was the guy behind the scenes pulling all the
the one
strings
who
to
got the Civil War to
yeah
actually start.
yeah he's going to be the villain. So it's definitely going to be a more brought down scale of not really superheroes and
Right, not
supervillains.
like not world-ending
Yeah,
thing, but like a more
more,
personal type story. That's fine.
yeah,
All of that sounds good.
Yeah.
I still don't like from what they showed in the trailer, like this dynamic with the Winter Soldier and Falcon. Like I don't see them gelling. Like they don't seem like they're buddies. Like they're
They're
funny
the
together.
odd couple.
yeah.
I don't know. I'll wait to see the show. I just didn't think the trailer
That's like this.
did it
That's
any
like
justice.
you having the best friend and then having another best friend who really haven't really spent time together. They don't know each other,
Right.
and then you put yourself out the equation, and they got to
And
hang
now
out.
they, yeah, that's exactly how it feels like.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of
Yeah,
awkward. So if they harp on that dynamic and make that fun, there's definite potential there. But the trailer didn't seem like it was there. That's how I felt.
They're probably both just gonna bond over their knowledge of
Cap.
Captain America. Like,
That
don't you
doesn't
hate
sound
when he's
interesting.
late? I know, right?
That doesn't sound interesting. But hey, you remember? You know how Steve always yawns when he does. Like I don't give a shit. But on the Loki front, like that show looks fine. Like Loki looks fine. I don't have any qualms about that.
Yeah.
The trailer didn't really tell you much, but yeah,
Which is
whatever
good.
whatever this time show is gonna be about, I love like time travel type stories. So
Yeah.
if they Tom Hiddleston is a great actor, so I think that should be a fun time.
Yeah, and it's gonna be the Loki that got released when they went to get the Tesseract
Yeah,
in the
from
Endgame.
Endgame.
So, yeah,
I feel like these series are hopefully they're gonna do what Clone Wars did to the Star Wars universe, where it's fill in a lot of answer a lot of questions and fill in a lot of time, and show why things were so emotional in this movie, where things weren't as emotional in the movie before it. You know, and I always love to see that explanation.
I want to see since he's going back through time. I want to see them like go to different points, but not be directly involved in certain historical situations. Not really in real life, but like let's say they got to travel back in time to I don't know when Iron Man first got lost in the desert, and you just see a glimpse of him, like stuff like that. I think they can do that would be pretty cool, but without bringing those characters into it.
Yeah,
And like let
Like
it be
just
about him.
like kind of do like kind of cameos or
Yeah.
like or what is it like callbacks to just like memorable Marvel
yeah.
moments and stuff.
Like he's sitting in a hotel or something like that, and they're like, "There was an explosion over in the desert, blah blah blah," and you know that that's where
Yeah,
Iron
you
Man
hear
did
him
his
see
thing.
your
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know what I mean.
that'd be fun. Lampy says, in regards to Anthony Mackie, he was good in Black Mirror because of the character writing. He's basically just been a background character in the Marvel stuff. This is true. So yeah, with him getting his own show, like he's the headliner. It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, not the Winter Soldier and Falcon. Maybe he'll get a lot more screen time and attention.
That'd be nice.
And Lampy also
Yeah.
says, "Remember Legends of Tomorrow? That wasn't good." I agree. I think Jeff, you like that show, right?
In the beginning, it was good. Every season that went, so the first season was bad. When they got rid of Hawk Girl and Hawkeye, it got better the next season. But when they kept adding more characters, it got worse. And that's the problem with all the CW shows. The more characters they add,
Yeah, and they love to
the
add
more
the
they
characters.
make themselves thin. Instead of introducing the character and that character not showing up for a while later, they keep them around and then they have to juggle all these pieces and they don't do it very well. You know what I'm saying? The thing that made Green Arrow good was it was the Green Arrow. Maybe you had Diggle and you had somebody over here, but when you start adding 8 other people, you got to juggle a story about 15 people and keep everybody involved equally, that's where that becomes
Yeah,
an issue.
you need a better balance in your superhero content, and that's something that the Marvel movies actually handled pretty well. Like they would stick a ton of characters in it and then still make it cohesive, but you do still get characters who kind of get relegated to the margins, and then breaking everything out into these multiple series should now give them more time. Speaking of multiple series slash movies, the other stuff that was announced, well, I'll just go through the list real quick, and you guys just pick out the things you actually care about.
Okay.
Moon Knight is announced. Secret
Care about
Invasion
that.
is a TV show starring Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury.
That's
Miss
gonna be
Marvel,
funny.
Ironheart, who is the Riri. I can't remember her last name. Riri
Williams, I think.
Riri Williams. Yes.
Yep.
Young black female Iron Woman. Armor Wars, which is a War Machine led story, so Don Cheadle's going to be leading that, and a
excited
Fantastic
about that
Four
Care less about
reboot.
that.
Again,
Moon Knight,
reboot, right?
people seem to be really high on that. I don't know enough about him. Don't really
So-
care.
It's like
Jeff is like, let me tell you.
so it's a man who's actually he was a mercenary. He supposedly died in the desert, got resurrected by this Egyptian god of vengeance. So he's serving this god. The whole time, one of the comics actually takes place. He's in a mental asylum. They're trying to convince him that all that is fake. So the whole story, you're spending time trying to figure out: was it really just in his head, or is he really Moon Knight? Like stuff happens to where it makes you go to both sides, and it leaves him questioning himself. So he's very well written. His power is dependent on that god and what that kind of god needs him to do. If it's handled correctly, it'll be a better version of the Batman movies that have been coming out because it's more grounded. He doesn't have the money, but he's more of a
Yeah.
Batman character than
But he does have powers, you said. You just don't know.
limited super strength, but it's usually dependent on that god. So and then also like Moon Knight, so it depends on the moon also. So what cycle the moon is in. Like there's a bunch of stuff.
Okay,
There's too much
yeah.
to do with the character
I
right now.
never like he never felt like people were very excited to hear that he could be in anything. Like I think people were like saying, "Oh, we want Keanu Reeves to be Moon Knight" or something like that.
You know?
I don't know, but I never knew enough about the character, and like nothing from that made him sound interesting, other than people just wanted to see him. So Marvel has done this before. Like Guardians of the Galaxy was nothing until they made the movie, and now I'm seeing Groot merchandise all over the place. So I'm sure they could make him big if they do it right. But,
I'll send you a link for some info on him.
Like all the shows I just listed right now, with the exception of maybe Ironheart, which I think could be a very interesting story, I kind of don't care about. Like the worst of which is
personally like
Fantastic
War
Four.
Machine.
I hate the Fantastic Four. I don't
Yeah.
think they are interesting heroes
I'm
at all.
interested. They're gonna
They're not
reboot it,
even cool.
and your man from
Doctor
what's
Doom
his
is the cool part of the Fantastic Four.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
name? Hopefully they handle
Fantastic
him
Four is
well.
lame.
If they handle him properly, then
Yeah.
the Fantastic Four will be good. But the character, the guy who played on The Office, what's his name? And he played Jack Ryan.
Oh, John Krasinski.
Yeah, they're rumoring that he's gonna play Mr. Fantastic. So I'm
I mean, I do like him as an actor.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like, don't put him in that position. That's gonna be
I think it's gonna
bad
be
if they don't have a good Doctor Doom. And it's
Like,
Fantastic
that
Four
is true.
again.
Yeah, this is like the
right?
third attempt. at it
Like
now.
this is.
But
Oh.
that's usually how it is. Most heroes are defined by their villains. If you don't have
Oh.
a villain, then it doesn't matter.
But heroes are also defined by themselves too.
Yeah.
And,
You can have a good hero, but
You
if the villain is stale, the movie is stale.
Oh, most
That's just
definitely.
how it is.
but
So
if the hero is stale, then
yeah. Hopefully they find a good Doctor Doom, because that's been the biggest miss in the last couple of movies. The worst miss, like just something you shouldn't play with, is such an integral character, not only in the Fantastic Four mythos, but he's been involved in every aspect of the Marvel universe. So for you to like completely change the way that character looks was like, just we should have knew better. Like as it was filming, we should have changed our minds.
I mean, it was Fox trying to use the license, but differentiate it from the source material
Everything,
in a sense.
And a lot of times you don't need to do that. You can stick to the source without drastically changing who that character is. Like, because here's the thing:
Mhm.
If you don't follow the rules and you make a mistake, it's you can kind of go back to the character. But when you change the rules completely, there's nobody to blame but you.
I mean, why would you want to blame anyone though?
There's somebody to blame always. If
Like
that movie's
just
not making money, there's somebody to blame. But
like shoot your shot,
the Nick,
get it as close to the thing that people liked, and then you'll probably be okay.
yeah,
I
and
feel
then
like.
change who the character is. But when you change how they look so drastically and their origin so drastically, and it doesn't work, like not only are you going to anger the people who are hardcore fans of that character, but also the new people who just didn't like the story of the character. So you're going to lose on both fronts. Sometimes you'll lose that battle that the hardcore comic fans are like, oh, that's not who Doctor Doom is. But if the new story is interesting enough, people who aren't used to that character will flock towards it. But when you kind of alienate both those audiences, it's not going to work.
And Night Shadow has a question. This wasn't on the list of new stuff because we already knew about it, but he's saying, how do you feel about the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out? The actors and the villains they're trying to introduce. I think we talked a little bit about this previously, but I think they're going for like that Spider-Verse multiverse type story by bringing in a bunch of old actors from not even just old Spider-Man movies, but like old old Spider-Man movies that are outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it can be cool. I think we had concerns that they might be doing too much, but like we said earlier, Marvel tends to handle like these ensemble casts a lot better than other companies do.
That's very true.
It's very exciting, I think.
I think it's going to be corny.
Okay.
However, I really like the character design that I saw for Tobey Maguire already.
That was a
So
fan
I
design,
think-
though. I don't think that was.
Was that a fan design?
Yeah, I don't think
thought
that was
a real one.
No, that old
What?
man, like, because he was wearing like the Scarlet Spider outfit,
Yeah.
but that was a fan design. Like that wasn't like
Yeah,
official.
okay.
The Doc
In
Ock
that
show
case-
would have been way older than.
I am a lot more convinced that this is going to be corny. Than, that was like legit the only hope. I was like, yo, that looks hard as hell. Like I want to see Tobey Maguire, a little old man strength. You know what I mean? The strap and the beards, not the whole gray, but just a little bit.
I mean, he would be the oldest Spider-Man there, so they may go that route.
For me, I feel like Spider-Man was the first show that introduced a multiverse. As a kid, I remember seeing that Spider Carnage arc in the Spider-Man show on Channel 5, and that was my first introduction to, there's different versions of this character. There's an Armored Spider, there's Scarlet Spider. Who's Madam Web? Like, who are these people? Oh my God, what's going on? A Beyonder?
The little baby Jeff was so excited.
I was
It
excited.
is so funny. Like Baby Jeff and Baby Blue had different takes on that.
Yeah. So I was excited about this. The Spider-Man cartoon, I think, besides X-Men, was my first introduction to Marvel as a whole. Spider-Man, that show to me is, I think even growing up, I watched it a couple more times from start to finish.
It's good. It still holds up, I think.
It definitely holds up. And rule number one for this movie, it needs to be 2 movies. It can't be 1 movie. It needs to be 2 movies.
Rule number 1: double the movies.
Because when we try to fit, the same thing happens with books. When we try to fit a book into a movie and you only cover half the book in different parts, you miss the whole concept of it. If you can cover half that book for 1 movie and another half for another movie, you do that more justice. And also you split, you double your revenue if that first movie is actually good. You know what I'm saying? So if you do justice to the source material and you give a fleshed out story, that's number one. Especially with all these characters, you can't afford to have 1 movie. I think that was one of the biggest strengths for Endgame. It was 2 movies. So it gave so much
Right,
time.
yeah, because there were a ton of characters in it. So yeah, splitting into 2 definitely did give them a lot more room to work with and have different characters have their own little mini moments within the overall story.
Another thing, I think the villains are good. I'm hoping there's some different characters designs for these different villains. I'm hoping they're not just, we plucked them. This is the Spider-Man from this movie series, and this is the one from this movie series.
But wouldn't they need to do that in order to make it make sense? Like, because if this is the multiverse and like, this is the Doc Ock from that world, this is the Spider-Man from that world, they would need to look like those characters from that time, right?
I'm hoping that there's some remnants in that, but it can't just be, well, this movie series is a different Earth. In this movie series,
I think that's kind of what
It
it
has
might
to,
be.
and
Yeah.
you're gonna
that's
waste a
what I
lot of
don't
time
like.
explaining that corniness, bro. At least 30
Well,
minutes of that
to be
show.
fair,
Of that movie.
Marvel very rarely explains themselves. Like they, like no, legit. Like they spent all this time, all these years, over a decade, honestly, pushing out all these movies, and they tell you go watch that movie if you want to know what the hell's going on in this one. They don't waste time
That's no
going
problem.
back and telling you the whole story all over again. They
Look
really
into
don't.
the Spider-Verse. They made it a whole comedy bit. It's like, oh, one more time, and it's like, oh, this is who this person is. Da, 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 da.
Well,
I feel
they
like
had to do that because that was a separate thing. So like,
no, but I
but
thought
they did it well. Yeah.
they acknowledge that that's been an ongoing thing where you got to keep giving these origin stories for these
Right.
characters.
Yes.
when
They
they
played
do
it
Yeah,
very
in
well.
the
that's
movie.
true.
I don't think there needs to be an origin story. We know who Spider-Man is. If we see a different version of him,
We
Yeah, and we
do,
know who
but
we know
not
who
the
those
new
other Spider.
audiences.
I think
yeah,
they do. I think they
yeah.
honestly do. Like the old Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were those were the big superhero movies that kicked off this whole big superhero craze. In all honesty, like those were
Absolutely.
huge, massive blockbusters. Everybody has seen those movies by now. So if you see that Spider-Man, if you see Tobey Maguire in that Spider-Man suit, you're like, I remember that Spider-Man, even if you haven't watched any of these other things. You're like, ain't this the new Spider-Man and that's the old Spider-Man? That's crazy. That's all they want. They're not going to spend too much time explaining it, I think.
No, I don't think so either. But like some of the villains, well, actually, probably the one villain I didn't like Electro's the way he looked, and I think that was one of the biggest issues.
I don't know
didn't
how we
think-
disagree on everything because I thought that was one of the coolest parts.
I did not like the way he looked.
The
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx one, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
his
Jamie Foxx's
origin
character does
cool.
look
I
pretty
thought that
bad.
was
Minded,
dope.
even though his motivations weren't very compelling. Yeah, he was meager and got picked on that type of stuff, and then when he got some power, he went crazy. That's been used a lot. That's a trope that's been used over and over and over. The villains that we
Like multiverses.
that are the best villains are the ones we can relate to, whether their
Yeah.
motivations are altruistic or just selfish. We can relate to them because everybody's felt that way at some point.
Yeah.
I think his design was
You
bad.
never been bullied?
No, but it could
Jeff
have
is
been,
always the bully.
it could have been.
Jeff has never been bullied. He's always the bully.
didn't
He
need to be
cannot
blue.
relate to a victim mentality in that,
He
in
couldn't.
that
He
aspect.
didn't have to be blue. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to be.
Yeah,
because
no, I did think he
Jamie Foxx
looked bad.
electric
Yeah, he looked bad. So if they did do that change or somehow retconned him so that maybe his character
one of the
comes back or
biggest-
it's a different version of him in a way, like I think that they should go that route because yeah, his character design just didn't really look good, and I don't think it would fit with how other characters look in the Marvel universe. But I mean, like Alfred Molina's like trench coat Doc Ock and Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man suit, I think those would actually look fine. Like it would give you like a retro aesthetic if they showed back up, and you're like, oh, they're from this parallel universe.
Yeah, and each one of those universes took place at different times in history. I mean, different times in real life too.
Right,
Like
yeah.
Spider-Man
It
is
was
more
like
current.
in the mid
That
thousands,
first one was more like the 90s.
mid 2000s. Sorry, not the mid
There are going to be
thousands.
some dress differences as well. So hopefully they acknowledge those things and set those different worlds apart. It can't just say, oh, he has a Spider-Man suit on. He has a Spider-Man suit. It's just different versions of the suit. Like there has to be some other way to distinguish the different places that they came from, aside from just who the character playing them is.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Like, I get the reservations that Blue feels. Like, I feel the same way. But it's just like Marvel has such a good track record with this kind of thing. Like, I'm more optimistic than pessimistic for it. But anything else on the Marvel front?
We spent a lot of time on this one.
This
This was supposed to be the short
Let's
list.
just make sure one last small thing. Secret Invasion is actually going to be. So apparently Nick Fury got replaced with a Squirrel during the Captain Marvel movie. So all this time it hasn't been an actual human. It's been a Squirrel pretending to be
Nick Fury.
I missed that part. I need
Yeah.
to rewatch it.
Yeah, so that's why it's called Secret Invasion. Actually, in the story in the comics, Secret Invasion was a bunch of heroes being replaced by Skrulls. They were trying to invade the Earth, and they were replacing certain individuals to kind of,
Captain Marvel like kind of flipped that whole thing,
Yes.
right? Because the Skrulls were bad guys, in Captain Marvel they were the good guys, and like what the Star whatever. What is
the
the team that Captain Marvel
Kree.
worked for? No, no,
The
no.
Kree.
Is that what they're
Shield?
called? The Kree? Like her,
That was the
like
name
the
of the.
Oh, Captain Marvel.
yeah,
Oh,
her team with Jude Law and them. Were they
I don't
called
know
the
the
yeah.
name of
Kree?
the team, but I know the name
But
of the.
but they ended up
The
being the
race
bad guys
is-
essentially, like
Yeah, the
Captain
race
Marvel's
is.
squad, and then
Yeah,
the Skrull
the
or
race
whatever.
is called the Kree. Because
The
the
Kree.
Kree Skull Road. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they flipped that and made them the good guys, which I thought was kind of cool because you were expecting one thing. So this is this following on from that, or are they now the bad guys again?
We don't know because if this has been because supposedly Nick Fury died. If this has been this guy pretending to Nick Fury, he's been doing good throughout the entirety of him being Nick Fury.
Right.
So we don't know. We just can go off of his actions from previous movies, which has been assembling the Avengers, being in these different spots and helping out and blah blah blah. So it's hard to tell.
And I don't know a whole bunch about, but you said squirrels, right?
Scroll,
Like,
scroll, SKRULL,
oh, got you,
squirrels.
got
The
you.
whole time,
Yo, I'm like,
the whole time you
what?
thinking he says squirrel.
I said, what? Because I don't know why, but I was thinking about like the Rick and Morty episode.
Oh, with the
And so, like, yo, this is really out there. But why would squirrels be trying to take? They were everywhere. If they could start organizing, I could see them trying to take over the world.
like is this
This
the
might be
is this the origin of Squirrel Girl?
And that's what the What If series is.
Oh,
For,
Lampy
right?
said I also heard Nick Fury was replaced with a squirrel and it was
Thank
confused.
you, thank you.
Oh man, that's
This is
funny.
in the What If series right here.
Oh man. Okay, so we'll wrap up the Marvel stuff and move on to the Star Wars stuff, which I know is kind of the bigger story here. I'll real quick just go through the list of everything that was announced. I'm pretty sure this is everything. We have the Book of Boba Fett, Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka,
Yeah,
Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which we already knew about, The Bad Batch, Visions,
yeah,
a Lando series, The Acolyte, a droid story, and Rogue Squadron.
yes.
So out of this big list, start letting us know what. Like you don't have to go through everything, but just let us know which ones you're excited about so far.
I think Visions is going to be super cool.
What is that? Can
we've
you explain
already-
it to me? Because I'm not even sure what that is.
Visions is, and I don't know the era, but I just know that it's an anime style Star Wars series that's coming out.
Ah,
And I've seen many fan anime Star Wars renditions that look amazing, and then the art style that I've seen for this, they've only had like one picture. It looks great. I've always had faith in the Star Wars series animations, as we've seen from the Clone Wars, Rebels, blah blah blah. We could go on, but I have a lot of faith in that. I think it's going to be awesome. Two of my favorite things combining. On top of that, on the opposite side of the spectrum, I'm not excited for Lando. I wanted to be, but the way that they handled it in Solo was, I think, absolutely terrible, and I don't want that character to continue. As much as I
do
like,
we know if Lando is gonna
Yeah.
still be Donald Glover?
They didn't confirm in what I read, but I couldn't see them going any other route.
yeah, honestly, it's gonna be kind of a slap in the face to him if they don't choose him. I
Yeah,
think.
that would be messed up. I feel.
Yeah, and it's not that he did a bad job; it's just that they didn't give him enough to work with. I think
Yeah, he
because
was a
as soon as
very
he did,
side character in that movie.
yeah, like as soon as he had a couple lines that were like his smooth Billy, what is it called? Billy
Billy
D.
D.
Ray
Williams.
excuse me. Lines. After that, he turned into freaking Earl from Atlanta, and that's because he had nothing else to do. So I'm not looking forward to the extrapolation on that Lando, even though I'm still going to give it a chance to fix its mistakes. On top of that, of course I'm excited about almost everything on this list. Droid Story, I'll probably watch it at one, but it's like a Lego thing.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'll
was
probably
wondering, like,
watch
what
it
the
at
hell is
one
that
point.
supposed to be? Is this like an R2 run? Oh, okay.
It's a R2 C3PO kind of series, I guess.
It's like a kids show.
Yeah. Like they had a couple fillers in the Clone Wars that were cute, and they were definitely good for a kids show. So I hope they kind of, when they tried those, they said, okay, yeah, we're gonna run with that, put it all into this series. And I know what that is, and I know what this stuff is. You know what I mean? That's gonna be right there next to the What If series for me.
Nice.
What about
For
you, Joe?
me, it's gonna be obviously Boba, M-
Yeah.
MF and Fett, and then you got
Mhm. Yeah.
um, bless you. You got the Acolyte, which is gonna take 200 years before the Phantom Menace, which is gonna be I think
Yo.
the High Republic.
Yeah, the
I
High
think.
Republic. They've been talking about that for a while now. A
Yeah, weren't
lot of good
there
authors.
like some new extended universe books that came out about that stuff?
Hmm.
There's a whole bunch of like I guess it was like the top Star Wars writers from around the world that got together to make this High Republic story supposedly.
Hmm.
Oh,
The biggest selling point of this was the writers. So I'm excited to see visually how it comes out, but this story I know is going to be
and then that era isn't explored as much, so there's definitely a lot more room
Well, they
for.
just made it up, didn't they? Or did it already exist in some capacity?
At that time period existed. I don't know if it was called the High Republic, but at that time period existed. I mean, it was only
Mhm.
200 years. Mind you, Yoda's 900, so
900.
yeah.
Oh, is there gonna be like a is there gonna be a Yoda in that world
I
then?
hope not.
I don't know. I'd probably
It's
say
possible.
I guess it would be hard because I'm guessing he would have had to get a promotion before he was 700. You know what I mean? So, like, unless he was slow. I don't know.
Like he must have been
Imagine how
around.
stressed. Imagine how stressed you are. You working in a place for 100 years and still ain't got a promotion. Yo, you all talk some BS. It is a wonder that he is not on the dark side from jump. You know what I mean?
So I guess it would be hard to miss him, but if they do show him, like once again, it needs to be maybe a point here and there, but it can't be about him.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, I do not want
yeah,
this story.
so it's interesting to see what that's going to be about.
Mm.
Another one for me is going to be, um, I was going to say Andor, but not
That's gonna be
really.
cool.
It's
Who
going to be
who
cool, but
or
it's not
what
my
is
favorite.
Andor? Am I saying that right?
Andor,
Because I said Andor. Is it Andor?
Andor,
I think it's
was the
Andor
planet that wasn't that where
You thinking about Alderaan
oh yeah, I'm thinking about Alderaan.
or
Never mind.
Endor?
Yeah,
I don't
never
know
mind.
what I didn't actually look up what Andor stands for, but I know that it's about old boy from Rogue One. The spy, the Republic intelligence spy that was working
Yes.
with Iden Verso.
Okay.
It or not Iden Verso. Oh my gosh, that's Star Wars Battlefronts 2. We're talking about oh my gosh, what is her
Talk
name?
about
Stardust.
start. No, are you talking about
That's
like
what
the main character, like
yeah, the
uh
dude.
the wait no. The main character in Rogue One was a lady though.
Right, sorry. So but it's the dude that played next to her.
Cassian. Cassian.
Okay,
Cassian.
Cassian. That's who the story's about. It was Jin Urso
Right.
Was the girl. Um but yeah, Cassian, that's the story about him. That's what Andor's gonna be about. And he is such
Is
a
he? Is he? Like he's not
Well,
like such a. That seems like such a weird character to focus on. I guess he's a lot more important
yo,
than
he
that
was so
movie.
ruthless in that
he was.
movie. He killed an
And
informant just so he could escape and help the Republic. Like, but he did it without a second thought. And he's always talking about like, yo, I've seen some stuff. All right, I've done stuff to get stuff done,
mhm,
and I want to see that stuff that he's talking about
that
because he
stuff.
damn near killed.
And this is going to take place 5 years before Rogue One.
Yes, really good era to choose, and we're probably gonna see some rebel involvement. You know, Captain Syndulla and the Ghost and the Spectre and that whole squad. I think that's probably gonna be
That'd
a
be
nice little
pretty cool.
crossover. Yeah.
Last one for
Um,
me, it's probably going to be Ahsoka, which is probably one of
That
the
yeah,
ones
that
I'm
I'm
looking
kind of
for.
souped about. I
I'm trying
really
not
love
to
that
name the
character.
obvious ones.
Yeah.
Well, because yeah, I feel like a lot of this stuff is like it's so niche.
hmm
Because like as much Star Wars stuff that I consume, like
Just like
Andor,
Thanksgiving.
like Lando, I don't care that much about. Like I know the character, like I like Donald Glover, but like
Mm,
a show centered around just him, like why would
yeah.
I sit down and watch that? like Rogue Squadron seems interesting, but only because I still have fond memory for the games. Like if they're gonna focus on like the fighter, like what is that as a show? Like you're gonna tell me about a bunch of like fighter pilots? Is this gonna be like Top
Yeah.
Gun? Is this gonna be like
I mean, again, Rebels had such a really cool anchor in this whole era that Rebel Squadron, if you play the Squadrons game that just recently came out,
I did just buy
it's
that
awesome.
when it was on sale.
Yeah, that story leads all into that I think that's what that era is going to be about. You know
So
what I
this
mean?
is
There's
gonna
a
pick
lot
up
of
from the
important
game
stuff.
stuff. Okay.
I don't know if it's going to pick up or illustrate the game or be around the game, but I know that's the Rogue Squadron that's normally talked about. And again, Harrison Dula is an amazing pilot and linchpin to this whole rebellion. And it's really cool to see her involvement, especially because she's just a badass pilot and a badass captain. I'm excited to see more of her screen time. I think they're just waiting on the right actress, to be honest, because she's such a heavy
Okay.
character.
Uh, what is Rangers of the New Republic?
It's the old men of the Star Wars sitting around with beer bellies talking about the good old days.
Seriously?
No, I have no idea. Um, it's just what it
like,
feels like.
like that's how obscure most of this stuff is. Like, I could totally
Yeah.
believe what you're saying right now.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I like
Yeah.
to be surprised by a lot of this stuff.
Like my guess is like this is some group of like foot soldiers or something. But like, isn't that also the Bad Batch? Like, those are like clone troopers. Those
Yeah.
specific like ragtag clone troopers that are like what they had like mutations, so like they're sort of
Yeah.
like a superhero squad in a sense.
They're like the X-Men.
Sort of,
They're
yeah.
really the X-Men of the clone army.
But they're
But when it
like an
comes to
elite
these,
unit that goes and does missions or whatever, right? So like,
Mhm.
I'm imagining that's what that is. So Rangers would have to be something else, or would it? I don't
I
know.
feel like I heard it was supposed
Still-
to follow a couple of those guys that were introduced in the
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian series.
Exactly. It's going to be those guys, and I think it's going to be kind of them trying to start to establish order in the galaxy, right after, or in that same Mandalorian era. They're trying to get Republic footholds. Excuse me. I am so sorry. That's not what we talk about. I've been watching a lot of CNN recently. Republic footholds. So I think that's
Yep.
what this is going to be about. To be
We're
honest.
being privy to new and classified information. It's gonna take place at the aftermath of the fall of the Empire. And they said
Boom.
Lisa, what's her name? Gina Carano might have
As
some
she
part
should.
into that.
Oh,
She's a marshal of that too. Because remember, she joined up.
oh,
With
okay.
them.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds really uninteresting to me now.
That's why I said old guys sitting around with beer bellies and talking about the good old days on the space porch.
Okay, so overall, I think this is too much Star Wars. Like, I'm just gonna say that, like, like, listen, hear me out. Wasn't this
No,
part of the?
I feel you.
Wasn't this part of the problem that came up with them trying to expand on the original trilogy? Was that they started filling in a lot more information than fans actually ever wanted. Like, they started trying to give you explanations for like what the Force was. They explained like Darth Vader's whole entire life story. Like, they're going way too deep again. Like, they introduced a bunch of new stuff that people sort of liked with what was it? The new Star Wars, whatever the first of the new, what is it, episode 7? What was that called?
Oh yeah. I was gonna say A New Hope. That's definitely not it. The
Force Awakens, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they introduced some new stuff there, like the new entity of the First Order and all that stuff. So now they're going back and they're saying, this is how everything before this happened. This is how everything happened after this. This is what happened between these guys. This is what happened here. This is what happened there. It's too much. Like, leave some stuff up to interpretation, or don't extrapolate it out into like a big production, because you're gonna have to tell so much story to make any of the story that you want to tell relevant.
I feel like they're gonna do one season of a lot of these shows. Like the Rangers, I think it's just gonna be one season, one and done. Wrap that up, good to go, and move on to the next thing. That being said, I definitely feel what you're saying. Even as a hardcore Star Wars fan, this list is pretty overwhelming. I know I'm gonna have to sit in front of Disney Plus for a long time once these start to drop. I'm not dreading it necessarily, but I can understand how people who aren't as in love with Star Wars as I am would be, and I feel that. I feel it's a lot, and especially like you said, a lot of obscure stuff that's getting a microscope on them. And hey, I like it.
I mean,
I'm
like
sorry.
you're the big Star Wars
Yeah.
fan, and even you're saying like this is a lot, but
It is a lot.
I do feel like
Yeah.
if it's good, like Blue said, then it's good. Nobody's gonna complain. If it's not great, then they'll get one season and then it'll be done and done. I do
Yeah.
see where it went from 1 to like 10,
Yeah.
where instead of 1 to 3 and then from 3 to 5 eventually, where they just jumped from they had no medium. There was
yeah,
minimum
yeah.
and max.
It was an
So
absolute explosion. Like, remember how we had the discussion, I think, on Jeff's Star Wars recap show about
Yeah.
how all these things felt like backdoor pilots, and how I correctly predicted this felt like they were trying to seed in an Ahsoka Tano solo show. It's weird how small I was thinking. They seeded in like 30 other
Everything.
series, all in The Mandalorian. Like, that's why The Mandalorian felt so thin, because they were trying to tell you all these other stories in that show.
I don't know if it felt thin. It was actually
Yeah.
really
Hold
good.
on now. Like,
No, look.
98% with you.
The
Michael.
Mandalorian is good. Like, I liked it overall. But it's not as good as the first season because it didn't focus on that core story. Like, I love episode 7 because after them kind of getting away from this dynamic between Mando and the child and blah, 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 they focused a lot on other bigger characters from other shows. The last
I feel like they
episode,
didn't focus on them. I felt like they introduced them and used them without making a story about them. And I think
right,
Hank
but
did a
but
good
those characters were still too big. Like, even then, they were too big. Like, Ahsoka Tano was the star of that episode where she showed up. Like, you can't say that she wasn't.
How was she
Mando
not? I mean, Luke showed
Mando
up
was
for-
featured in his own show in that episode,
Luke showed up for 2 minutes and it was
and he stole all. Like, that's too big of a character. He stole everything from the final scene.
When they showed Grogu, it was the Grogu show. It's gonna happen when these characters that people haven't seen in so much time show up in any new medium. They're gonna be like, oh my god, no matter what the medium is.
So they
Like,
should
if
have. So they should have mentioned them versus actually putting them in there for half the episode.
I don't feel like that would have done. They gave the fans what they wanted, which is what the movies haven't done. The movies, when they used Luke Skywalker,
This
we
is all
didn't
an
get to
apology
see
for
who-
the movie.
Yeah, we didn't get to see who Luke was. We
But at
saw
the expense
Luke,
of the show, I feel like Mandalorian is the movie that all you guys wanted, but is it now the Mandalorian anymore? Like, no, it's your Star Wars movie's apology letter.
We respect the Mandalorian
Mhm.
for doing his whole pilgrimage and getting to where he's at now. We don't even know where he's finished up. It's not done. It's definitely not done. There's a lot of respect for him wherever he goes and all the feats that he's accomplished to help people and be helped by people to get a noble cause done.
'Cause
And
when
I
he
don't
shows
think
up in somebody else's show, it's the same thing's going to happen to him. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like,
I mean, you would only hope, yeah,
yeah.
because he was
Is
a
that-
new character, and so like, no matter what you do, like if you put a character that has that much history next to him, you're gonna have like a nostalgic attachment to the character you already know. Like, even though it's Mando's show, he is popular. Like, he's not at that level yet, you know. So that's how it
He
felt
will
to me.
be.
But
He definitely will be.
absolutely.
any other standouts for the Star Wars stuff? We might need to just wrap this up because we're already at about an hour.
Yeah.
But anything else you guys want to add on the Star Wars stuff?
No, I think, and I know Jeff, we're still gonna have that recap for
Yeah.
the whole season 2. So I'm looking forward to talking more about that. Because I think there's really good elements that I'd like to see moving forward, not just from the Star Wars series, but from DC and from Marvel. Just some storytelling elements that I really like.
Yeah. Lampy said, when are we going to get the Han Solo, the Carbonite years?
It's coming.
Just
From
close
this,
your eyes. Just close your eyes and you can see it.
from this track record, they will make a show about that. But that's gonna do it. Apologize we didn't get to the Sony removing Cyberpunk story. We'll probably just leave that for next time. It is a pretty old
no, man.
story, but yeah, very interesting stuff still happening in those waters. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for joining us as we come back to the first show of the new year. Hopefully there will be many more. Expect fresh faces on the show going forward as well. In addition to these two gentlemen here. But if you want to find these guys in the future, please follow Blue Bones. Please follow Superman Jeff 12. Please follow myself, Gears 9. Follow all the channels, the Open Party, my channel, Blue's channel, Jeff's channel. What else should I be plugging right now? Well, Blue, what do you have coming up this week in terms of streams and such?
This week we're gonna get back into Fridays. I'm gonna do some. I'm still kind of exploring. I'm doing these gaming journeys, right, where I go with the flow. I'll start with the game, see how the people are feeling, see how I'm feeling, then go into something else. So I'm really enjoying that. I think the viewers are enjoying it too. So we're gonna have a couple gaming journeys this week that I'm excited to see. But again, Free for All Friday is gonna be a lot of fun. Still got to pick the game. We're thinking about Party Smash, with the items and 4 people like we were doing the other day. I thought it was a lot of fun. We'll see if folks want to do that. We're gonna find out in the Discord though. So if you join the Discord, you'll definitely be able to see that news.
Yes, 18 and up, please, in the Discord.
Yeah. yes.
Jeff, how about you? What do you have coming up this week?
Yeah, so after hiatus for the holidays, we'll be back with some Monday Night Siege. And I'm gonna load that up on the Series X because that is I think they enhanced it for Series X. I think that was on the list.
Cool.
I definitely want to see what that looks like. And then Thursday we'll be back with Guardian Thursdays. I'm going to see what we're going to do with that. I kind of want to see if we can do some private matches, some different stuff. I think that was pretty fun when we did it for Free for All Friday. We'll probably try to do some of that, and then we will get back to the season 2 of The Mandalorian, the last half of the season recap. So definitely look out for that.
Cool. And Lampy is asking, yes, we will have Smash Sunday today. That's exactly what I was going to plug. Are you guys going to be joining me for that this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm going to have to double check.
Okay, so Jeff will be there for sure. Ooh. Blue, we will see.
Yeah, we'll find out. What kind of snacks?
Yeah. None of them tea crackers.
Oh, never mind.
I'm sorry, that's all we have. That's all that's here. But yeah, so check that out this afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be starting Super Smash Sunday again. After that, catch me, I believe this Wednesday. I don't know if Starboy will actually be here, but I will try to fit in more streams with Starboy. I want to bring Sigma and Son back in a more consistent fashion. So just
forward to it.
Keep an eye on the Twitter. I will let you guys know when those streams are coming up, so you can tune in then. But other than that, check me out on Escapist stuff. See you guys later. Thanks for coming through. That's episode 11. Peace.
Deuces.